When we're talking about negotiating multiple offers and doing it ethically, one of the biggest questions that comes up for us is, are we really handling things in a competent way to make sure that the buyers really understand the situation that they're putting themselves into, realizing that many buyers are stepping into this without having the opportunity for certain diligences that we would normally want them to have, and we want to make sure they understand that risk, as well as sellers making sure that if they have that opportunity to have multiple offers, that they're really leveraging and maximizing that potential to reduce future liability. So a lot of that means we have to look beyond just the purchase price, beyond what we're coming in for earnest money. What are the structures and what are the dangers that we have and how we're structuring our escalation clause provisions, what we're doing for our appraisal gap provisions. And there's so many different tools that are out there, and they've changed so much in the last couple of years that I still see a lot of confusion in how we're approaching them and what we're doing. And again, if we're not competent in providing that information to our buyers and sellers, then they're stepping into transactions where they might not fully understand a lot of liability they take on. So we want to make sure that we're closing the gaps on sort of the easy outs in transactions, that we're really trying to get as clean and tight of offers as we can for both the buyer and the seller to avoid contract fallout that's unnecessary, because it's so hard to get offers under contract, especially as a buyer in this market. And so we want to avoid those potentials where the sellers have sort of loopholes to get out of the contract a little bit later. But we also want to make sure that in how we're presenting the information, how we're communicating, what we're doing, especially when we go, beyond 5 offers into 10 offers. And even on some of the markets that we have in Washington, we've had over 150 offers on a single property on the first day when they've taken offers. And that's intense. It's a lot. So to be able to know how to actually review those, present them, make sure that you're getting things concise, that we're setting up situations to protect our sellers from the dangers of love letters and fair housing violations, but also make sure that the sellers are truly maximizing what they can and doing it ethically, so that we're avoiding even the perception of an unethical practice, between us and our sellers. Like, was it off market? Did I try to double in the deal and not cooperate effectively? Am I following the things that I'm supposed to be doing under MLS 8.0 and clear cooperation, and making sure we're following all those things? And we've had a lot of changes that have come down in how we have to communicate with one another. I know that's often one of those big issues that we see is, what can I tell the other side? Is it ethical? Is it legal? How do I make sure I'm getting that, permission from my seller in an effective way? So there's just a lot of factors that come into play, especially when we feel so anxious because it's all coming down in such a short time frame. But we still need to make sure that we're covering our bases, doing things effectively, and making sure that the sellers are walking through there. And at the end of the day, that we can make sure that we're standing by what we need to do, for Article 1, am I doing what's in my client's best interest? Article 3, am I still making sure that I'm clearly cooperating when it's in my client's best interest? And the information that really just across the board, am I upholding myself to where when the market shifts, we can still be proud of what we do as realtors?